Hello, and welcome to Not Now in Theaters. My name is Will Turntail. Welcome to another episode of a new segment on this podcast called Side Reels. It's a chance to have a looser conversation about some of the topics I'd like to cover, besides the normal, more in-depth retro reviews. I'm going to lay out my case for why the ending to The Mist soured what was otherwise a brilliant movie, and what we can learn from the decisions behind it. Okay, let's get into it. Society has some notoriously divisive questions. Are socks with sandals okay? The pineapple on pizza debate that many people seem to have. And then the biggest one of all, of course, whether or not you love or hate the ending to the movie The Mist. A lot of you really like it. Stephen King loved it, even though it differed from his book. Well, listener, I don't like it. And I don't think my opinion is better than anyone who likes the ending. Respect to your opinion if you like it. But I want to talk about this because I think it's a good discussion about movies. And no, it's not because the ending was just too sad for me, okay? I wouldn't record this if that was all I had to say. I have two reasons I don't like the conclusion. But first off, we should talk just generally about The Mist. The movie was directed by Frank Darabont, who of course adapted it from Stephen King. Darabont, if you don't know, adapted King's stories into the films The Shawshank Redemption and The Green Mile. And he's been a highly successful writer and director outside of this, like on the beginnings of the celebrated TV show The Walking Dead. Mass respect and reverence for Frank Darabont, okay? Anyhow, for almost the entire movie, The Mist is amazing. Even by about minute 13, you are wrapped up in a whole ton of tension. The way it kills off that first victim, ouch. I mean, a lot of films would just swipe them away or whatnot, but this one just kept it all going for your horror. And like other viewers, I loved how the people in the movie mostly behave rationally in the situation they're in. When you add in the movie's realistic documentary style, it all helps build a tone even more full of dread. Well, I shouldn't say everyone behaves rationally. I mean, they behave as humans do. So maybe it makes more sense to say they behave realistically. This movie came out in 2007, but it would remind you of many reactions to the COVID-19 pandemic. There are mist deniers when the news strikes, and that's a very human thing, wanting to believe something dangerous is not real. But factions forming and the religious Mrs. Carmody leading people into weird behaviors, that all seems realistic too. I've also read that the number of bullets the revolver is said to have matches exactly the number Ollie fires on screen. I didn't know this when I saw the film, but these little details really do add to the story, even if we're not aware of it, and they ground an unreal story, right? So all of this is fine and good, and actually great. But then there's the ending, where a nicely sculpted statue of a movie all tumbles down the side of a ravine. David and his son Billy and the rest of their party, well, they decide to leave the grocery store rather than wait for help to arrive. They see how far they can go before the car runs out of gas. They drive by to find his wife is, in fact, dead. There are giant bugs like dinosaurs walking around. Everything is in chaos and under siege from the creatures. And the car does run out of gas, and the mist doesn't end like they hoped it would. So David decides, well, 4 bullets, 5 people. I'll mercy kill everyone but me, because how could a father not find a mercy killing for his son, rather than let him get torn apart or devoured by the bug creatures, right? And he does the same for the others. Bam, 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 bam. But that mist rolls back, and suddenly, here comes the army. Cue the dramatic-ass music that sounds like the saddest remix of something from Gladiator. And so my frustration began. Now, I had heard this ending was a bit bleak going in, so part of this was ruined for me. I had expectations of something no good going down. But this isn't a daring ending. It's just annoying. Everyone seems to have an opinion, one way or the other, on whether or not this is a good ending. And that is the first reason why it's clearly, for me, okay, a bad one. Yes, that is the primary reason I don't like it. Not that some people love it, not that some people hate it. The ending drew all the steam right out of the film because it's such a gotcha bitch moment, it overrides the rest of the film. Throwing David into a circle of hell on Earth, killing everyone when they were moments from surviving, instantly takes you out of immersion in the movie and into a, oh, they fucking got me moment. Without breaking the fourth wall, it's like they did break it. David shoots them, and then seconds later, the army rolls up. Seconds later! For this movie that kept track of all the bullets in Ollie's gun, it's so deliberately fucking with you. It's like Nelson from The Simpsons wrote this ending. He should have appeared and yelled, "Ha ha, you shot your fucking family." But that's not all. Because you know what happens? That woman who left the store early on, well, there she is. Salt in David's wounds, she made it. Play that bum 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 wah, fail sound from The Price is Right, because you lose. Good day, sir. No, to hell with this. One of my favorite podcasts is called The Cinephiles. If you haven't heard of it, they break down truly great films. And one of the things Steve on the show has pointed out is that if you feel like a movie is manipulating you, it's doing a bad job of manipulating you. Because generally a movie is always manipulating your emotions. So when you notice it so overtly, it's messing up. And I find that's the case here with the ending. With this ending, all the focus is suddenly on debating Darabont's choice rather than the movie's actual ending. Now here's the second reason I don't like this ending. The justification for it doesn't work for me. If you watch this missed ending explained video by the YouTube channel Looper, which I'll put a link to in the bottom of this transcript, there's a Darabont quote in it that says, "The Shawshank Redemption is about the power of hope, while The Mist is about the danger of hopelessness." I guess Darabont is really big on hope pieces written by Stephen King. Anyway, the woman who left to find her kid, David sees that she lived, and David, who gave up, fails. But I submit that David didn't give up. He was there in the grocery store, rallying people all the way. He left the grocery store because it wasn't safe. People were ready to sacrifice his child and his friend, the teacher with the revolver in her purse. It wasn't safe there. So him leaving the store, well, that wasn't about being hopeless. That was a calculated risk, survival decision. And at the end, David sits there in the car, listening to the creatures outside, and decides to take a task that would, in a moment of despair, ease some suffering. They also decided to leave the store, hoping they could escape the mist if they made it to the car alive and drove past it. So he tried everything until he literally ran out of gas. And think about David's neighbor at the beginning of the movie and some of the other people who decided this was all a hoax. They went out there into the mist and got torn apart. So their optimism doesn't save them. But inexplicably, this woman made it through. That implied it was more about random chance who would survive than anything to do with hope. We should remember that a shocking ending can work. In Old Boy, that ending is notorious for being dark and twisted. But it makes sense. You can accept that brutal ending because it's the point of the film. Everything has been driving there, so when it strikes, damn, does it pay off. This movie renders itself kind of pointless. The film was a very Lord of the Flies, humanity turns on each other kind of movie. It was realistic despite the horrors. And I think The Shawshank Redemption is always about never giving up hope, but The Mist is supposedly about hope, but just for the last 5 minutes, because David supposedly quit right there in the car. It's shoehorned in there. Okay, enough of my ranting. Other than the ending, The Mist is a brilliant movie. Maybe I convinced one or two of you that in the ending is good camp to change your opinion, but like the characters in the movie, people generally don't change their opinions, do they? But if you got this far, thank you for hearing me out. I love talking movies, so if you completely disagree with me, that's fine. Put your respectful disagreements in the comments, and maybe you can change my mind. This podcast episode is a production copyright of Overegged Media, LLC, located in Sacramento, California. Reference photos linked in the transcript are copyrighted by the Internet Movie Database. This review's factual information was gathered through online sources like Wikipedia, IMDb, or interviews. Misrepresentations and errors are possible, but unintentional. The introduction music was Kick Shock by Kevin MacLeod of Incompetech.com, licensed under Creative Commons by Attribution 4.0 license. And the exit music and additional music, those tracks are called Realizer and Laser Groove. They are also written by Kevin MacLeod of Incompetech.com. They are also licensed under Creative Commons by Attribution 4.0 license. See you next time.